Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back. Please let me know how you're doing in the chat. What were your big takeaways? And can everyone hear me okay? Can you all hear me? Yes, thank you, Carrie, my lovely assistant. Let me know what your biggest takeaways were from yesterday. Any ahas or any questions, anything you want clarification on? We'll get started really soon. Just letting people jump on. I'm sorry for the time change for people in the UK. The clocks go forward in America 3 weeks before the UK, and I thought the clocks had already gone forward, so we sent people the wrong information. But hopefully, the people from the UK are here too. Any takeaways? Any thoughts? Anything you didn't know? Anything where you were like, "Wow, I never knew that, Veronica." And when you're posting in the chat, just do the drop down menu so it says everybody, so everybody can hear. Sharon is saying the bandwidth and keep showing up. Yeah, today we're going to focus on how to stop. And just a reminder, lots of people have already jumped into the Soberful Mastermind. If you want to get the bonus, which is free coaching with me for 8 weeks via a digital app where you can reach out and ask questions and get help, join by Wednesday evening and you'll get that bonus. When the coaching we do with the app is great. It's really makes lots of people have said that it's really made a big difference for them. So Carrie will put the link in the thing again, and she'll do it at the end as well. For those of you who who's thinking about joining the mastermind, this is like I want to tell you, this group, we pack a lot into it, and hopefully it'll become clearer when we do today why we need a program and a guide and all of those kind of things. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to bring this up and then, okay. Can everyone see that? And can everyone see me? Let me just get the chat. Okay, yes. Can everyone see? Yes, thank you. Okay, so we're going to focus today on the how to stop bit. You can reach out to me here if you want to at my Instagram. Make sure you're following me at Veronica J Valley, or on Facebook, my page or my group. Okay, so recap. Yesterday we learned that we drink, some of it's brain chemistry, a lot of it is how we feel, and a lot of it is what we believe about alcohol. We believe alcohol is the best way to have fun, excitement, belonging, connection, to relax and to reward ourselves. And who wants to miss out on that, right? So day 2, what we're going to learn, how to stop. We're going to learn that it's 10% not drinking and 90% emotional sobriety. We'll learn a little bit more about emotional sobriety, how to reprogram your subconscious mind not to drink, why early sobriety is different, the different phases of sobriety, and how to change your alcohol habits into sobriety habits. So write this down. Getting sober is really just one thing. It's a shift in perception. And what that is that you see everything differently. And that's how it's possible to love being sober in a wet world. When I was 27 and I stopped drinking, I thought, I absolutely believed that this was a fact, that my life was over. I was never going to have fun again. I was never going to go dancing again. I was never going to party again. I was definitely not going to get laid again. And my life would be dull, boring, and gray. I accepted that terrible deal because I did believe my anxiety and panic attacks would stop. And at that point, I was prepared to do whatever it took. So my life would be dull, boring, and gray. At least I wouldn't be anxious and panicking all the time. That was how I saw the world. I saw the world in that way. All that changed, the world didn't change. My mother didn't change. People didn't change. Drinking didn't change. People are still drinking. How I saw those things completely revolutionized. Does that make sense to everybody? This is what you need to happen if you want to stay sober, is you have to see things differently. So that's what needs to happen. Does that make sense to everybody? Because we see things subjectively. We don't see things as they are. We see them through a filter of our beliefs and past experience. So, how you see things and the story that you're telling yourself about how you see things is not necessarily accurate. Perception is everything. So nothing is going to change apart from how you see it. And we get this shift in perception by having an internal emotional rearrangement. I'm going to talk about how to do that. And that way we go from FOMO to JOMO, the joy of missing out. Oh my God, my joy of missing out on drinking increases every year. Every year. We live in the deep south and it's very hot and there's a pool, a community pool, and I can see it from my window, and I see every weekend people are drinking or in the pool, not getting kind of rowdy, but just like having, and I just think I'm so glad that I know that I don't have to have a wine cooler to be able to enjoy being in the pool and chatting with my neighbors and having fun and relaxing. So a sober mindset is a shift in perception. So we're going to talk about mindset and we're going to talk about habits. So I want you guys to know this. This is really, really important. Just put in the chat, where are you on your sober journey? Are you sober curious? Are you hoping to stop soon? Have you stopped for a few days or weeks or months? Put it in the chat where you are on your journey, because I want you guys to know something. Oh, well done, Andrea. Andrea's 12 days alcohol free. Well done. This is really important. Oh, well done. 4.5 months, 5 months. Curious. Okay. 2 weeks sober. Previously, well done. 2 months sober. Okay. You're in the right place then. And if you stopped for a bit and went back, are you beginning to understand why you went back to drinking from what we learned yesterday? Those of you who stopped for a bit and went back, are you beginning? Yeah. Okay. Early sobriety is not how it is long term. It's really important to know this. Early sobriety is roughly the first year. So the reason that early sobriety is not how it is long term, don't judge early sobriety the first few weeks and months and think this is how it's always going to be, because that's just not accurate. The reason for that is it takes your brain, your gut, your hormones, your energy, sleep, up to a year to fully recover. So if you've got a few weeks or a few months into sobriety and you feel like it's boring, the reason for that is your brain chemistry hasn't recovered yet. That's what that is. It's not because sobriety is boring. Remember, it's perception, how we see things. It's not because sobriety is boring. It's because your brain chemistry, and particularly dopamine, the reward chemical, your brain has not healed. That's why. So you have to give early sobriety at least a year. It's a big lifestyle change. So it's a big change. You have to go through all the firsts, the first 3-day weekend, the first holiday, the first vacation, the first Christmas, the first birthday. All of those things you have to go through the first time and experience them sober. Like one of the big ones for my clients is often going on vacation. Their first vacation makes them a bit nervous because drinking was so associated with that. My clients that do sober vacations all come back and tell me how much better it was, how they had so much more fun. And guess what? They actually come back from vacation feeling like they had a vacation because they're not hungover and sleeping all day and all that kind of stuff. Our relationships have to be renegotiated, and eventually it becomes our new normal. But I want you to know this is why we need a community of people and a program, because this first year is very, very different to how it is medium and long term. So there's lots of things that are just typical for early sobriety. Does that make sense to everybody? Has everyone kind of got an idea of that for the weeks and months that they have been sober? 6 months of sobriety is very different from 18 months and 2 years and 3 years and 5 years. Those are very different experiences. So I really think sobriety is like tuning in an old-fashioned TV set. Who remembers these old-fashioned TV sets? I used to have one of these in my bedroom when I was growing up. And you know, do you remember you had to turn the thing to get the channel? And so you turn the thing and you get lots of the interference, the right? And then you just keep tuning in, tuning in, tuning in, and then you get a picture and you watch a show. And then you want to watch a different show. So you have to tune it in and then you get. That's what early sobriety is like. It's like tuning in an old-fashioned TV set. You are going to have some days where you get a picture, and you're going to have some days where you're going to get and it doesn't feel good. All that matters is that you keep tuning in. That's all that matters. And again, that's an experience unique to the beginning, to the early sobriety. Does that make sense to everybody? So just know that going in. So this is roughly the phases. And again, it's not strictly these days, but roughly, okay? The first 30 days, we want to stop drinking, right? We want to make sure that we do that. Some of us might need medical support to do that. We just want to make sure that we do all of the right things. Day 30 to 90, you need to make this your main thing, by the way. Alcohol took up a lot of time and space in your life. We have to make sure that sobriety remains the main thing. Day 90 to 180, up to 6 months, keep practicing all the things that are working. 6 months on, we need to just keep going no matter what. And then after the first year, what happens, the change that happens is the work that we do changes from needing to do this to stay sober to wanting to do it, to grow and to develop. So I am going to be 25 years sober on May 2nd. Maybe you can see it. Can everyone see that little corner there with the books? Can everyone see that? That is my little kind of corner that I have for myself, where most days I spend 10 or 15 minutes reading something that grounds me in personal development and growth, and doing structured journaling. And I have a meditation that I do and all that kind of stuff. And that is what has got me to almost 25 years of sobriety. So we start doing the stuff that I teach in the Soberful Mastermind. We start doing this stuff because we want to get sober and stay sober. We keep going because our life gets richer and more expensive. You know, Darlene, the way that I look at it, so if you're 3 months in and the slip does the start, so counting days, I want to say first, this is what I say to my clients. If you've had a slip, you are still living in the solution, right? If you've had a slip, what that is information. There's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. So there's a lot that you can learn from that. So you've had more sober days than drinking ones. So that's a win. The reason that we count days is I'm very clear that there is a before and there is an after, right? This May 2nd, 2000 is my sobriety date. That is like, my life was different after that date and it was different before that date. I think you guys would want to know if I'd had a slip 6 months ago, right? I think in terms of what I do, there's a lot of credibility in knowing that I haven't had a drink for almost 25 years. Don't get hung up on it, Darlene, right? You have been living in the solution for the past 3 months. That's how I would look at it. Does that make sense? So one of the things we need to know about stopping drinking is you may have people around you who don't want you to stop drinking. You may have other people who will try and sabotage your drinking, because sobriety, there's no getting away from this. Sobriety makes other people feel uncomfortable. It just does. Whoops, hold on, I just want to go back to that. Hold on, whoops. There we go. Because if we have a peer group that we drink with, who here has a peer group that they drink with? I know when it comes to the end of our drinking, we often drink on our own. So we tend to drink with other people who drink like us, right? I didn't want to go for a meal with someone who had one glass of wine. I wanted to go for dinner with someone who was going to order the second bottle or even the third, right? We drink with people who drink like us. So if somebody in that group stops drinking because it no longer agrees with them, Well, what does that mean about their drinking? Right? If I'm people, what you're doing is you're reflecting back to them something that they don't want to see. So just know when you stop drinking, you will probably have people in your peer group, maybe they're family members, who don't get it, don't understand it, and will push back. And the reason for that is you not drinking makes them feel uncomfortable, and it makes them, they don't want to look at their drinking and they don't want to think about it. Thank you very much. And that's where they're at with that. Can everyone see that with people that they know? I mean, can you imagine? When I got sober, I was 27. I'm British. I come back to the UK. At 18 months sober, I'm going out with friends to nightclubs and gigs and all that kind of stuff. Like, people who didn't know me very well looked at me like I had two heads. Like, how can you be in your 20s and be British and not go out and get drunk? Like they just couldn't compute that. So just know that that's going to happen. So one of the things that you may have to do at the beginning is have boundaries. So how to stop drinking? We have to have a change in mindset. We have to create a sobriety habit, and that leads to behavior change. And then we're going to talk about some of that today. So I'm going to do some sciencey stuff, creating a sober mindset. Our brains have been working against us. And this is all to do with our programming in our subconscious mind. And again, I'll explain this. Good news is it doesn't matter how old you are, you can reprogram your subconscious mind. Because if we change our beliefs, we can change our perception. So how we see everything, if you change what you believe inside, how you see everything will change. And then we stay sober without thinking about it. That's the goal, right? I just want you guys to know, for decades, I just lived my life. I've done everything sober. Parties, weddings, travel, barbecues, all that kind of stuff. I just live my life. I don't think about not having a drink, right? In that first year, in that early sobriety, that's a big part of it. But after that, you're just living your life. And that's where we want to get to. We want to reprogram our subconscious mind so we can live our life. Does that make sense to everybody? Who would like to do that? Who would like to program their subconscious mind? Let me explain how this works. I'm going to do this very simply, but this is something that's really important to know. The conscious mind is the part that you're aware of. It's your thoughts. That is only responsible for 5% of what happens in your day. The subconscious mind is responsible for everything else, 95%. So this is why willpower, being determined, being strong, those are things that happen in the conscious mind. But I'm going to be really strong and not do this. You're going up against 95%. You're not going to win. The programming in your subconscious mind runs the show. Now, the reason for that is it's to do with energy efficiency, right? You can't be thinking about every single thing that you need to do. A lot of what we do in our day needs to be on autopilot, right? It just needs to be on autopilot. Our subconscious mind was shaped when we were young. And so therefore, because of experiences that we had when we were young, we created some faulty meanings and beliefs. And those meanings and beliefs went into the subconscious mind. You don't realize they're there, and they run the show. Is everybody with me so far? I'll give you some examples of how this works. So learning to drive is the most obvious, is a really good way to explain this, right? If you remember when you learned to drive, you have to think about it, right? You have to think about indicating, you have to think about braking, you have to think about slowing down, you have to think about that. What does that sign mean, right? And that's very energy draining, thinking about driving. Eventually, how to drive goes into your subconscious mind and you don't think about it, right? If you've been driving for a while, if you all went and got in a car, you wouldn't be thinking like, oh, I've got to indicate and I must, right? It just happens. You walk towards your car, you see the car, and your subconscious mind goes, oh, she's going to drive. Let's put the program for driving the car in the slot. Now, I remember years ago when I was living somewhere in New York, one of the roads that I drive down every day when I picked up my kids from school, was going to be closed for several months because they were doing some kind of roadworks. It took me weeks. I would pick my kids up. So I'd be in the car, the program to drive would be in my subconscious mind. And then I'd be driving to school, like route to school and route back home would go in. For 6 weeks, I would drive and I would go down that road and I would see the sign and go, oh God, I have to do a really difficult turn and go back a different. It took me weeks to stop automatically going down the road that was closed because my subconscious mind was just like, drive kids home from school. This is the way we go. Is this making sense to everybody? So I remember when my youngest son was learning to write. Oh, he was sweating bullets. Like he couldn't get his finger in the right place, holding the pen, and like his finger kept going in the right, and he had to get there and learning to write. So learning to write is like we just pick it up and write. But years ago, you had to think about where to put your fingers. All of that is now in your subconscious mind. So that's good, right? We need all of these programs in our subconscious mind. So because I've got other things to think about. I can't be thinking about how to drive and how to hold a pen and how to brush my teeth and all of the things, right? We just want to do that on autopilot. But some good programming went in and some bad programming went in. And the bad programming was about how we understood our place in the world and who we are. So if some stuff happened in childhood, maybe we had a dad that shouted a lot, or maybe we got bullied at school or didn't get picked for a sports team, your child brain would have created a story about why that happened to you, and it would have made it personal. And that story would have been a lot of probably you're not good enough, you're not valued, you're not loved. And that program would have gone into your subconscious mind and would be activated again and again and again and again as an adult. Can everybody see how that's happening with them? So let me talk about how self-sabotage works, because this is all part of the subconscious mind as well. Who here has stopped drinking? Like, who here has woken up going, I have got to stop. That is the worst thing ever. I don't ever want to drink again. Oh my God, that was awful. And you have been committed to not drinking. Maybe you've got podcasts and bought some books and you've got some days and weeks under your belt. Who's done that? And then had those thoughts come in. Oh, I can just have one. Like maybe I could just have one. It's been 3 weeks. It's Friday. I'll just have one. I won't have spirits. I'm not like, am I that bad? I'm not that bad. Everyone else is having a drink. I'll miss out if I don't. What's going on there? You have a voice in your head. It's the voice of the ego. The ego's job is to keep you safe. And the way it keeps you safe is it wants everything to stay familiar and nothing to change. So if you have been living in the land of drinking, it may be awful, but it is familiar. You know how it's going to go, right? Does everybody know? Can everybody see how familiar their drinking is? Like how that goes? You are threatening to leave that and go into this unknown place, which is not just the land of sobriety, but the land of emotional sobriety. And you've never been there before. And you know, how are you going to do weekends? How are you going to do parties? How are you going to go on vacation? What are other people going to think? That makes the ego nervous going into the unknown. So the ego will sabotage you. It will tell you stories about why you don't need to stop drinking, so nothing changes. So one of the things that how to stop is we have to navigate around that ego. And I think I shared that with you guys yesterday. Make sense? You're right, Andrea. The one drink you have control over with is the first one. After that, your brain goes, oh, alcohol. Well, we need this many. We need 6 of these. Your body and your brain remember how much alcohol there is. So we have this. What I want you to know is you have this faulty programming, and it's going to keep this faulty program is just going to keep running until you do something about it. We have lots of pre-programmed responses to current situations because our subconscious mind says this current thing is like this past thing. Here is how we should respond to this. Give you an example. I have a client from way back, really successful lawyer, badass, like trial lawyer. If you were in trouble, you would want her to defend you. Smart, like just really good. Worked in this big law firm. And she grew up with a father who had an alcohol problem, who was very angry, and she never knew what dad she was getting. So she was always like on eggshells, like, is nice daddy coming home, or is angry daddy who's just going to shout and shout and shout at her? And that was very triggering for her. So fast forward, she's got multiple degrees, she's very successful, she gets paid a lot of money. There's a man in her office that shouts. When he shouts, her conscious mind, her rational mind, she has a physical reaction to it. She goes straight into this fear and belief that it's her job to calm him down. And she kind of knows that it isn't, but she can't stop herself, because her subconscious mind is going, this current thing, this man shouting in the office, is like when dad shouted 35 years ago. So this is the program. Fear, need to make everything better, etc., etc. Does that make sense? And can everyone see? You can maybe see it in other people better than yourself, but can everyone see that you are sometimes having reactions that are irrational, that are irrational about the current event? We form a belief system based on early experiences, and those beliefs get stored in your subconscious mind, and those beliefs are running the show. And that's one of the reasons why you drink. We are recreating emotional responses to current situations that result in us drinking. So when we make promises to ourselves and other people that we're never going to drink again, we do mean it. But subconscious programming is always more powerful, always. So how to stop? You must do the work on reprogramming your subconscious mind. That is the work that I teach, and that is the work, amongst other things, we will be working on in the mastermind. My top 2 limiting beliefs were, and these ruled my life. This is my subconscious programming. I'm not good enough, and I'm not going to be loved. Now, I couldn't have articulated that into words. Those were feelings. I felt that very strongly about myself. Whenever I got dumped by a guy, whenever I got let down by friends, whenever something didn't work out for me, the feeling that I would have was just, it was a very familiar feeling. And if you've experienced that, you'll know what I'm talking about. I just felt in my body like, see, you're not good enough. If you were prettier, thinner, smarter, better, those things would not happen to you. So these limiting beliefs are in your subconscious mind. We have to, first of all, identify our limiting beliefs and change them. That's what we need to do. So that's why alcohol felt like a solution, because feeling like that is terrible. Who wants to feel like they're not good enough and they're not worthy of being loved? That was awful. So alcohol was the solution to that. Who identifies with those beliefs of not feeling good enough, not feeling loved or valued or worth something? That is a lot of the reason that you drink. And how to stop is, so now you know one of the things you have to do. You have to identify your faulty programming, you have to identify your limiting beliefs, and you have to change them. How do we change this? And I want to talk about how we do it. So this applies to all changes we need to make, not just sobriety. We need to stop being stuck in our story. So we need to stop telling ourselves stories that keep us stuck. So Janice, this is a really good example. Janice has just put, totally identify. My mother did not love me. Now, the story Janice, let me see if this is correct. Andrea is saying the same thing. I felt that my mother didn't love me. The story you probably would have told yourself as a child that got stuck is your mother not loving you was somehow your fault, was somehow due to you not being good enough or defective in some way, and that's why your mother didn't love you. Does that is that part of what happened, Andrea and Janice? That's a story. It's not truth. I'm going to tell you what the truth is. The truth is, for whatever reason, your mother's own history, own trauma, her own limiting beliefs means that she couldn't express or show her love for her child. And this is the important bit. That was her failing, not yours. We have to change the story. And I'm going to tell you that's the truth. If you felt like a parent didn't love you, you were an innocent child. If you felt like a parent didn't love you, that was because of their failings, not yours. We have to change the story. So get out of the story that keeps you stuck. You need to change the language that you use. So I think I said this earlier to the lady who slipped after 3 months. There's no such, you can't fail in my programs. You can't fail. There is only feedback. You're living in the solution, not the problem. That's all examples of language change. We're not lying and we're not being Pollyanna. We are just changing the language. One of the best ones is when people say sobriety is hard, getting sober is hard. No, it's not. Having an alcohol problem is hard. Going to work with a hangover is hard. Dealing with shame and guilt is hard. Parenting when you're hungover is hard. Sobriety takes effort. So one simple word change will make the idea of sobriety feel different. Sobriety is going to take effort. We understand effort. We know if we put the effort into something, we usually, an effect happens, a result happens. So we want to identify the limiting beliefs that we have for the lies that they are. This is a process and it takes time. You'll be amazed how quickly this will happen if you focus on this in just a few months. And how we support that change is creating daily habits. Again, we do that in the Soberful Mastermind. That's why we have lots of time. Sobriety is about moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So if you are using these words and telling this story, you are stuck in a fixed mindset. I'll fail. It's too hard. I can't do this. I should. Those are all fixed mindset. Growth mindset, it's just language change. I'm learning what needs to change. I'm putting in consistent effort. I don't have to do this alone. I'm going to deal with reality. When you have a growth mindset, you believe that change is possible. So I want you to believe that change is possible. And we get a sober mindset by creating sobriety habits. Yeah, Janice is saying about her mother, she had a bad life and was an alcoholic. Yeah, that had nothing to do with you. No, that was nothing to do with you, but you have created a story and made it personal, and that story is absolutely incorrect. Yes, Darlene, having a sobriety coach is a must. Having a mentor, having someone like me who can help you with this stuff will make all of the change, all the difference. Okay, so how to get sober is you need to change your habits. We need consistent habits that maintain our mental and emotional health for the rest of our lives. Personal development for sober feel. And that's what I teach. That's what I do in the mastermind. We work on our habits to maintain our mental and emotional health for the rest of our lives. And then we do it to stay sober, and then it changes into personal development because our lives become just so much better. We want more of the good stuff. This is the secret to staying sober. It's consistency. What we have been doing, a lot of you, what you've been doing is intensity over consistency. And that's why we fail at changing our habits, because we're using willpower. Intensity doesn't work. We burn out. The key is consistency. So we want to create daily habits that improve over a year. So this is what I tell my clients. we want to focus on 1%, because 1% is doable, right? If I ask you to do like, we don't want to make this feel hard. We want to make it feel possible and doable. So 1% is doable, right? All I'm asking is that you do 1%. So you just do something that supports your mental and emotional health every day, and you do it consistently. By the way, doing it for 2 weeks is not consistent. That's nothing. Is we're going to do stuff every day. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Can everybody give me 15 minutes? Can everyone give me 15 minutes? Most days. Can you all give me 15 minutes most days? Because if you can, I can get you emotionally sober. It's really important. The reason that consistency is important is you have to keep going until you reach the critical threshold. So imagine that I have a lump of ice, right? And in this room, I want the big ice cube to melt. And the temperature of this room is 26 degrees. I'm doing this in Fahrenheit. And I turn the temperature up to 27 degrees. Nothing happens. Turn it up to 28 degrees. Nothing happens. Not melting. I'm getting frustrated. I turn it up to 29 degrees. Nothing happens. Nothing is going to happen until it passes 32 degrees. Once I turn it to 33 degrees, little specks of moisture appear. I turn it to 34 degrees. The ice cube is beginning to slowly melt. The reason that sobriety hasn't stuck is you have quit before you reach the critical threshold. You quit when the temperature was 29. You didn't get to the critical threshold for the ice cube to melt is 32 degrees onwards. Now, this is why you can't do it alone, because it's hard to keep going. You need a community, you need program and structure, and you need expert guidance. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Our sobriety has to be active. So I hear this a lot from people. Like they think they're doing the work of sobriety, and what they're doing is they're listening to podcasts, reading quicklets, they're in Facebook groups. Those things are helpful, but mostly what those things are information. Our sobriety has to be active, so it has to be doing, journaling, exercising, changing our limiting beliefs, changing your language, working on your mindset, making small but consistent behavior changes. You know, one thing you could take away from this is just focus on the language that you use. Just pay attention to the language, how you talk about yourself and how you talk about drinking and sobriety, and use some of what you've learned here and change your language. See how that works out. See what happens. Now, if we do those things, what happens is we become emotionally sober. Emotional sobriety is the reward. It's the place we want to get to. Emotional sobriety is when we feel comfortable in our own skin and we like ourselves again. That's all it is. We have emotional masteries, which means previously my feelings and emotions used to rule me. I would feel something uncomfortable or unpleasant or difficult, and I would need a drink because I didn't know how to deal with it. Now I'll feel something uncomfortable, unpleasant, or difficult, and I'm able to process it, release it, take the lesson from it. That's emotional mastery. Who here would like to be emotionally sober? Who here would like to feel comfortable in your own skin and like yourself? I want to tell you, there is nothing on earth that feels as good as that. There's nothing on earth. Darlene's saying, but what if you're super private and do not and have never liked sharing? You don't have to like share in a group to do this. I have groups that I run, and I have people who very rarely say anything, but they are very actively listening, and they are doing the work, and they're reaching out to me one-on-one. So you don't have to share your feelings with a group in order to get emotionally sober, Darlene. Don't worry about that. You can actively listen and do the work. I'm going to say connection with other people is important, but it doesn't have to be in a group. Yeah. We want to be emotionally sober. That's what we're going to do in the Soberful Mastermind. We do the mindset work, we do the habits, we do emotional sobriety. Because when we are emotionally sober, our brains are not searching for quick fixes to how we feel. I want to be very clear. Sobriety is not that some people get it and some people don't get it. It's that some people do it and some people don't. Sobriety is active. It's an action. It is showing up to the group coaching calls. It's practicing the work that I give you. It's reaching out and asking for help when you're stuck and you don't understand something. It's about understanding that it might be difficult and uncomfortable some days, but you're going to keep doing it anyway. That's doing. We just have to keep doing it. This is how we get sober. This is a seesaw. This is alcohol. One end is drinking, one end is sobriety. If you show up consistently for me and just give it your best go, don't do it perfectly, but do the best that you can, and put weight on the sober end consistently over time, your sobriety will embed itself in the earth. And that's how you stay sober. But it's the consistent weight on the sober end is the how. It's the doing it. Darlene, you have to open up and share with a coach. Well, maybe. I'll be honest with you. That's one of the reasons I like EFT, emotional freedom technique. I've helped people with stuff where they just don't need to tell me the story, and we can use the tapping. There's lots of different ways that you can deal with that, but you can be in a group and you can actively listen. So this is what I want you to understand about the solution. This is why you need to give it time. And if anyone tells you there's like a 30-day fix or a reset, that's just marketing. It's not true. Alcohol is instant reward and the consequences are delayed. We get the consequences the next day and days. Sobriety is delayed rewards for our effort. So certainly if you stop drinking, hopefully within 48, 72 hours, you're going to start feeling physically better. Like you're going to begin to feel better, but it takes time to do this work. It takes time to change your language and behavior. There's no hack for that. Time takes time. So it's going to be a continued, but when we're in it, it sometimes feels like not much is happening. If you consistently keep going, you will look back and see how far you've come. Don't quit before the critical threshold. Don't quit before the good stuff happens. You need to give this a year, staying in a program, doing the work, staying in the community, so you can see all of the good stuff happening. So let me tell you just a little bit about the mastermind. It is going to be my flagship program. If you recognize yourself, if you're stuck in the cycle of stopping and starting, constantly thinking about alcohol, but if you stop, you're worried about missing out, and alcohol feels like a solution, even though it's causing harm. If you feel alone and unsupported in sobriety, or lacking a system or tools to stay sober, which is why please check me out. Please do due diligence. If you're thinking of joining, check me out. I think my work and my reputation and my qualifications all stand up really well. So the Soberful Mastermind is about getting complete freedom from alcohol. Not just, we're going to get free from alcohol. We're not going to think about it anymore. That happens eventually. But we're going to have freedom in our mind. That's what we want to get. We want to have freedom. We want to learn how to fun and relax and socialize without alcohol. We want to get that network of people. So when you join, you'll immediately get access to the Getting Started kit, which has some digital exercises to get started. Each month, we're going to do a behavior change lesson. There's twice monthly live coaching calls with me. I've got some guest experts that I'm also bringing in. So you'll get access to that. And I have a private exclusive community group. The best thing about it is you only need to join once. There's no limit on this program. It doesn't stop in 12 weeks or 6 months. You can stay for as long as you want. Now, there's bonuses. There's actually going to be a bonus group session. We start next Tuesday, so there'll be actually 3 calls in April, because I'm going to do a bonus. And then you get, when I have other digital courses, you'll get a deal on those. Now, if you join by Wednesday evening, you'll get this bonus. It's a digital app on your phone, and you can text me or voice message me your questions, what you need help with, what you're struggling with, and you can do that every Wednesday for 8 weeks. This works really well. We really love doing it in the Sobriety Habit, the program that I just did. Here's what we're going to cover. So April, we're going to talk about the 5 pillars of sobriety and how to begin to make those work in your life. We cover lots of different things. So there's letting go of your past, meeting your needs, dealing with difficult people. I want to tell you, dealing with difficult people is like a really important sobriety skill, because we all have difficult people we have to deal with. Friendships, switching off that negative voice in your head. So these are some of the things we cover, and we do a lot more on the calls as well. And this is the best deal. If you join in the first group of people joining, you'll get it half price. It's just $9.97 for life. No reoccurring payments. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to know? Put them in chat. What are your thoughts on alcohol-free wine and beer? That's a good question. Andrea, these are my thoughts. I think you have to approach them really carefully. I think if you, okay, let me rephrase this. I have had some clients where it's really made all the difference, being able to have an alternative. I've had some clients who've relapsed on it. So, Carrie, can you just do the exchange rate for British pounds for Janice? So I think you have to approach with caution. I think having an alternative is a really, really good idea. But I'm going to suggest not what you, so if you were a beer drinker, I don't know if I would have alcohol-free beer. I would maybe have something that's an alternative. So I can't give you like a hard and fast, because initially I was very against, because when I got sober, there wasn't any alternatives like that. The alcohol-free market has now exploded, and I think it's really great. Like I run in-person retreats, and we were at this great retreat in Mexico, and they did the most incredible alcohol-free cocktails, incredible. And we all loved them. So, but I used to drink wine, and I don't drink alcohol-free wine, because even after all this time, my brain is like, it makes me feel a bit peculiar. So sorry, that's the best answer that I can give you there. Yeah, so that's what I hear. I hear that. I think alcohol-free cocktails are fantastic. I think if you're going out for dinner, like, we want to educate, like, we do want to educate for restaurants and places like that. So I think it's really important to create that market. So I love a good alcohol-free cocktail, but I don't like finish work and make myself a alcohol-free margarita or anything like that. I just, if I'm socializing. Any other questions? How was that? Does that make sense for everybody? Darlene, I just want to go back to what you were saying. I understand that it's a struggle for you, my love. So one-to-one work may be helpful for you. But I also want to say everybody needs people. We all need people. One of the pillars of sobriety is connection. I talk about this in my book. Connection is, we need people who do really see us. And it might just be one person, but our enemy is loneliness. Remember, we did that yesterday. The worst thing for us is loneliness. Alcohol-free wine is full of sugar, very bad for you. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad. Yeah, watch the recording from yesterday, Janice. Yeah, Darlene, I mean, okay, let me just say something about the money. You need to invest your money wisely, but you've already invested a lot of money into your destruction, right? I'm going to say you probably easily spend $1,000 US in 6 months on alcohol and the effects and causes, right? So make sure you check me out, feel really comfortable. Look at all the reviews, all of that kind of stuff. Nobody should, impoverish themselves to spend this money. But this is like the most affordable program I have, and with the most value. This is the most bang for your buck because it's open. Like if you stay in this program for 2 years, like that's an amazing deal. But we use the money, I can't afford it. We don't do that with alcohol and trying to numb our feelings. Like how much stupid shit do we order on Amazon and all that kind of stuff? So nobody should impoverish themselves to work with me, but we also value what we pay for. That's really important. It should be sent to you, Janice. If you look at your emails, you should have got the recording yesterday and it will come out again today. Yeah, you can do all of this program at your own pace. That's why it doesn't, there's no pressure like, oh my God, in 6 months I have to leave. Any other thoughts or questions that anybody has? I'm going to just say there's lots of people who get sober and then they see business opportunities. So there's a lot of digital sober services online on Instagram that if you look into those people, they're not qualified or experienced. Don't work with anyone who doesn't have qualifications or experience. I have like thousands of clinical supervised hours when I was a psychotherapist in the UK. Yeah. If you miss a week, well, first of all, you can watch the recording, and you don't miss a week because you can stay in the program. So if you can't come to the coaching call because you're whatever traveling or sick, you can watch the recording, and then you can keep coming and ask questions. So you don't miss out on anything. So yeah, when you join, you will instantly get access to the Getting Started kit. We'll let you into the Facebook group. And you'll see all of the schedule for the calls, and you'll get the information about Voxer as well. So as soon as you join, you'll get the invitation to download the app, and then you can message me tomorrow. It's Wednesday tomorrow. It's when my messages usually come in. That's why I keep my Wednesdays free pretty much, to get back to people. I have people message me from all over the world. So the first call is next Tuesday. We have one on the 1st of April and the 8th of April, and then one at the end of April. There's 3 calls in April just because people are getting started and stuff. Oh, look, lovely to see people jumping in. Hey guys, thank you for joining me. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, SC. Oh, well, I'm glad you bought my books. Yeah. Join the mastermind. Honestly, we have such a great community. I'm going to tell you, the only people who work with me are like, I only work with badass cool people. So if you work with me, you're badass and cool. The link is going to be sent out, but Carrie just put it in the chat. She'll put it in again. If you click on the link there, it'll pop up in a different thing, and you can sign up there, and you can start boxering me tomorrow if you wish. Make sure you get your emails. If you don't, message me or reach out, but check your spam. They may have gone to a junk folder. You're welcome, SC. I don't know if you're a man or a woman, but my dog is who wants to see this is my therapy dog. Come on, Capri. Come on. He's telling me it's time to eat, mummy, and it's time for my walk. That's what he's telling me. Susan. Nice to meet you, Susan. Yeah. Yes, is it time? You want to say goodbye? You want to say goodbye to everybody? Yes. Yes. There we go. All right, everybody, take care. And I hope to see some of you in the mastermind. Bye-bye.